Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. February is New VN month, which I decided a while ago, and yes, this is another New VN we're going to be doing here, Lands of Fire, in which we play as a thylacine, which is definitely a first for the channel, and I think it's probably a first for the VNs that I've certainly played. I don't remember the thylacines around. It's a very interesting one. It's kind of different to a lot of stuff. So, I'm not going to talk too much about it. Let's just get going here in the start. Night no longer exists. The wrath of the Sun Woman casting all of the land in eternal daytime. Keeping track of time is still possible by watching the shadows and, here in the coast, the tides. It is still an uncertain science, of course. Regardless, the elders have decided today is the day I become a man. I wake up to the same bright midday glare that has drenched the sky for who knows how long, safely shaded in my gunya. I wash myself with the water coulamon and chew on some wattle bark to clean my teeth. After drying myself, I then use another coulamon full of white ochre and reapply my body paint, forming stripes and patterns over most of my body. I use the water bowl as a mirror, carefully checking my patterns as to look proper for the Curringal. As I finish the last touches, I hear footsteps, and sure enough my sister enters the gunya. And here I thought I'd have to wake your lazy ass up. You look fantastic, by the way. Thanks, it means a lot to me. Then again, I'm your sister, so maybe I could just be saying that because I love you and you're actually all messed up. Then I'll tell the elders it's all your fault for lying to me, but don't you worry about that. I know I look fantastic. Truly the most humble of all the Ewan. Why, thank you. I work really hard to be less arrogant and conceited. I do that by learning from you. Is that so? Oh, quite. I always ask myself, what would my dearest sister Goodity do? And I do the opposite, so thank you. Goodity rolls her eyes but doesn't respond. But on seeing her expression I decide not to say anything either. We weren't very close as children, but after that drought we became the only family that mattered to each other. The elders say we basically weaved ourselves together, and for a while we rarely would be seen apart. Yet now that she became a woman, we saw each other less and less, as we needed to fulfill, or in my case prepare for, the roles men and women have in society. Nothing would make this Curringal anything less than the moment I've always waited for. There'd always be a bitter sweetness to it, as it almost made the bond we regained pointless. I prayed to Daramulam that should either of us get married, it would be in the same tribe, be it Ewan or any other nation with thylacine kinship. Doesn't matter as long as we get to see each other. I can't bear to lose her forever. Well, I'm ready. You'll have to take Mum's place in the Curringal. Certainly, let's go already. We walk to the Curringal grounds, where the rest of the tribe is waiting. Large mounds circling the stage were built for Baim, the god of the sky, who bears witness to my performance. Winyu and Durag wave at me and come right up to us. A big day, huh? Nervous? No. You so are. It's okay, Kumadang. It's our Curringal too, remember? So just laugh at our failure in advance. Hey! Thanks, guys, but please don't screw things up for yourselves just to make me feel better. Not lying to, mate. Not even you're worth the glory this will bring to me. He says that, but I see it in his eyes that he'd throw everything away from me. Winyu is without doubt my closest friend, having been with me even before I patched things out with my sister. He always does everything he can to make me happy, now to include botching his own initiation into manhood. Now I feel twice as nervous. Hey, they're lighting the fire. It's going to start soon. Sure enough, men begin to wave the bull roarers, signalling the presence of beloved Daramulam as he joins his father in the heavens as a witness. Or at least he would if the Sun Woman hadn't cut off the world from the night sky, and us from access to the spirit world. Still, it's as if I can still hear him in the music, It drones in my skull, vibrating within flesh and soul. My sense of self dissipates as if I died and became one with the universe, beyond space and time. This follows neatly into the first part of the Kurringal, the dance. Men and women dance together for a bit, losing ourselves in the music. A few men shout, ending this first stage of the Kurringal. The next stage is when I, Winyu, Tura, and the few other young men sit in front of the fire, so close as to make us sweat. Standing up behind me is Gutati, taking the role of my mother, while behind Winyu and Tura is Winyu's mother. The women armed with their charges put on boughs and rugs to cover their eyes, and another shout prompts the next stage. I, Winyu, Tura, and the few other young men dance once more, now sweaty and shaken by the oppressive heat. We dance near the fire, our stamina pushed to its limits. Occasionally you can hear the crackles of hairs flying into the flames. Just I'm about to collapse, another shout is heard, and now rugs are placed on my head, and I'm led along a narrow path between the mounds by Gutati. The rugs are removed, now and the others arrive at a clearing with holes on the ground. Gutati helps me into one of these, which submerges most of my body. She feels pretty nice after dancing and walking for so long, and the cool earth helps. Winyu and Tura follow after and look at me. Winyu makes a funny face and I can't help but laugh. Laughter is what I need right now, because this is the peak of the Kurringal. The elders approach us. This time it's Moranga's turn, and he carries the wooden chiselling tool. Even Winyu is intimidated. I'm pretty much pissing myself right now. One by one he approaches a young man in the halls and holds him still, opening his mouth and digs the tool into the jaw, removing a single tooth. The other men shout and sing loudly to dull the pain and make the tooth come out easier. Sure enough, while some men do cry, others laugh as blood drips from their mouths. Everyone will graduate, but those who plead and whimper have embarrassed themselves in the eyes of the Yuin, be them ancestors or still living. It's my turn now, and I can't help but shiver. The shouting and the singing has distracted me up to this point. My nerves threaten to make me scream. Winyu stares at me, worried, and I in turn worry if he'll botch his performance when his turn comes. As Moranga comes beside me, however, I begin to calm down. He gives me that proud grandfather stare. I can help but smile a little. Winyu seems to be relieved by that and smiles too. That's it, boy. Show me your teeth. And he holds me in place and digs. The flat wood tool pushes my molar out slowly and agonizingly. Pain flares through my mouth and I worry that he broke my jaw. But as if on cue he massages it, proving that he only took the tooth. As he finishes, his wings soothes away some of the pain, which I'm grateful because I nearly cried out. Then he moves on to Winyu, who's just as well behaved as me, and Dura, who screams and cries. I'm actually surprised that platypos usually lose all their teeth when they're still young, but I guess one remained for Moranga to take. I try to comfort him. My mouth keeps on bleeding profusely, the gargling making it hard for me to talk, and the pain threatens to build up again, so I shut up. Gutati brings me water to drink, and after the bleeding stops, I'm dug out of the hole. Me and Winyu are cheered as are the other men who didn't cry, while Dura and the others who did are mocked. Come on, mates, here's my brother. Leave me alone, I'll knock the rest of your teeth out. I can have you emptying all my jaws, bring it on. Whatever bravado that fool had dims out when you actually takes the offer and runs towards him. Luckily for everyone, the whole thing depleted them of strength, and they are stuck hitting each other lethargically. Moranga and Yulu drag them away from each other. Dura, meanwhile, looks positively miserable, the pain dimmed in comparison to the humiliation. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's alright. You did your best, and that's over. You can enjoy the party, alright? Dura wipes his tears and nods, trying to look happy for Winyu and me. Honestly, better him than me. As the men recover, the women say their goodbyes. Gutati hugs me and I hug her back tightly. Only briefly, since I don't want to be laughed at. I'm supposed to be a man now, after all, and people already think I act like she's my mother. As she leaves, I feel empty. That emptiness is quickly discarded as the elders begin singing and dancing, starting the festivities to come. I sigh happily and I doze off. The next few days all the men in the tribe gather together, partying all the way. All types of meat are enjoyed aside from possum and bandicoot, and gum cider lifts our spirits. That's typical for a thylacine. I eat and drink a lot. My friends egg me on until I'm drunk and nearly vomiting. Winyu and Dura look out for me, and the elders decide I probably should leave some gum cider for the rest of the guys. It's basically a polite way of telling me I won't drink for a while, which sours my mood a little. We dance and sing, we listen to the elders telling the escapades of Daramulam, the secret stories meant to be shared with only the men of the Yuin and no one else. Stories are sacred to us. I can tell Dura feels very privileged for this, as he was adopted by Winyu's family. Me, Gunjati and Winyu always did our best to make it clear he was one of us, but I can tell this is the moment where his doubts are put to rest. We draw pictures of Daramulam, the only time when such is appropriate, as well as whatever else we feel to express ourselves. I use ochre to paint pictures of the moon, lunar crescents at various stages that Daramulam jumps in profile, adorning the track rocks along with the rest of a gallery spanning thousands of years. The work of thousands of artists who left pieces of themselves in the flat expanses on the ground. The many pictures form in endless rows. Some even seem to work upon those preceding them, a perfect chain representing the history of our people. This gives me immense joy, as I feel connected to all those who came before me. It also makes me feel nostalgic for a time where I could see the night sky. Perhaps their grief pollutes me as well? As if to confirm this, a few of the elders look at my moons with what seems to be longing. They say nothing, and I feel like I've accomplished something important. Like divine inspiration flows through me. Like both Daramulam and the ancestors flow through my fingers into the ochre and into the rocks, leaving behind eternal history. I know your name literally means moon, but you don't need to go overboard with it. And the moment's ruined. Yeah, well, my name wasn't Sun. Again, I have a different idea in mind. Oh? I regret asking. His masterpiece consists mostly of dicks interlocked within dicks, forming a phallic latticework. Many of the elders just throw their arms and leave, but Yulu and Muranga seem to find it very amusing. How was the pretension and now this? It took longer than usual. Hey, Avi, this truly expresses the divine will to create. Well, you're not wrong. Well, at least it's very well drawn. Congratulations, it'll last for 1,000 lifetimes to confuse everyone that comes after that. Why, thank you. When you winks at me and I fluster a little. If there's still people in their 1,000 lifetimes. Thank you for ruining the mood, by the way. Winyu. At ease, Kubadang. I did bring searing sunlight to a pleasantly shaded conversation. Carry on for now. Yulu seems like he wants to say more, but doesn't, and leaves with Miranga. I hide in something, my anxiety begins to crawl within my chest like hagfish up a whale's corpse. Hey, you alright? I hide in something. Wait till I'll probably reveal at the meeting. Can't relax a little, you're way too stressed. Winyu hugs me, I feel a lot calmer. He has a wonderful way of soothing people, which I can only imagine be truly helpful as both me and Dura are handfuls. Feeling better? Always. I nuzzle against him and let him sit us down near some rocks. It's clear by now that we have feelings for each other, but for some reason neither of us has taken the next step and admit we love each other more than just as friends. It's infuriating, especially since Winyu's the one to always go with the flow and all that crap. And he gets cold feet about this. It tears at me on the inside, but I decide to let go of that grudge for now. I kneel before him and open his possum pelt rugs. Right here? You're the last person to complain. Besides, I want to get even and relax you instead. Winyu shrugs and lets me suck him off. Eventually, the Kurungal festivities conclude with the whole reason they exist in the first place. I, Winyu, Dura and other young men are now partaking in the men's meeting to decide the fate of our people. Another stage had been erected, still with tall mounds but more tucked within Mount Galaga's forests. Yulu sounds the bull roar and sings, a ritual to keep the concealing enchantment strong. A cyan light coats the meeting stage, making it look as if underwater. Only you and men are able to find the place and see and hear what went on inside. I had a feeling things would be heavy. I'm not surprised to find so much tension in the air as I enter the stage and sit beside my friends. Everyone is here, let's begin. This current hours are rather favourable to us. Though a few of you couldn't help yourselves both brave the pain and laughed it in the face. We Yuan are not a warrior nation, but our tribe might as well be one now. Damn right. Many young men cheer and howl. For a moment it almost seems like the tension is gone. It stays within me, as if I was its host, and soon it dominates the stage again, as if poured out of my body. When you seem to read my thoughts and holds my paw, trying to comfort me, he motions me to lean against him, where I remain still, listening to the elders. Not even here in our coves have we been spared from the Sun Woman's monsters. Bunyips patrol our waterways, leaving us only the sea to fish and dew to drink. Yaramaya who take our children and twist them in their own flesh. Garcane fly over the very heights of our sacred mountain. Yulagal come from Mount Gulaga itself. Even our black and red dogs have taken some of our own for her to devour personally. The Yuan as a whole have held her better than most other nations. We've hidden ourselves and coated our weapons in ochre. This is only barely enough. We are fragmented and dwindling. Soon our tribe will be overrun or trapped and starved. I wince. Painful memories returning to me. When you notices and hugs me, I lean into him trying to fight back tears. So are you happy about us being warriors? Poor idiot. He tried to lighten the mood but failed miserably. I'm sure physical strength and endurance will help. They will not save us. Rather, our warriors will be the ones to use their strength and endurance to travel to Bujbim and seek allies there. Do you think the Gunjitmar will help us? An elder, a bearded dragon, sighed. It is our only hope. We don't need them. Let's just slaughter the monsters and kick the Sun Woman's ass. Who's with me? No one is. Most men will stay here to fight, but we'll send a small delegation to plead for help at Butchbim. Too large a group will attract the Sun Woman's attention and require too many resources. So 3 men and a woman will travel by sea to the Gunjitmara stores. With no complications, you'll be there within a few days. Wait, a woman? The elders looked down grimly. There's always the possibility that our people may perish here, so our culture might have to survive in exile. The men will have to marry and continue the Yuan totem lines of our tribe, while the women will carry our religion and ways. Nice. I brought it back on the way for getting some Sheila's preggers. I'm in. Oh, but I thought you wanted to fight. Let's go fighting when I get pussy. You ought to be going. For your own safety, of course, then she'd probably drown you. And rightfully so. The quarrel of a few of the young men shoot eye dags at Turo, cowers and sits close to me and win you. You already decided which woman will go? Yes, Goodity has volunteered. My mind feels like I've been hit with a wave. It's like I'm underwater and even struggle to breathe. When you and Dura look at each other and me, worried. Gavadang. I'll go. Everyone stares at me. I've proven myself in the Kuringal. I can handle weapons. I'll row until my arms fall from my sockets. I try my best to hold back tears. My voice cracks. Please, I can't lose her. We pack very little. We each carry water coulamons, with Goodity also carrying one full of herbs and Winnie one full of ochre. We don't bring any food. We're expected to fish and hunt on the way, and to these ends all of us bring bone hooks. Each of us carries a weapon. We each made one in the days preceding our journey. Mine is a non-returning boomerang, a curved wooden blade rimmed with black ochre. Dura also carries a boomerang, though his is a returning one. It's a blunter and lighter than mine. White ochre forms waving patterns like snakes, and there are a pair of crescents from either end. When you asked if it was in my honour, Endura predictably just blushed and shifted the conversation. Winyu's weapon is a sword club, an unusual weapon for a Yuan to make, but quite fitting since he's easily the strongest of us four. It's rimmed with red ochre, but the same penis lattice work he painted on the rocks is also there. Goodity surprisingly went for an axe, also rimmed in red ochre. Whereas this is something women are trained to use, or if it's just her bloodthirsty tendencies, remains a mystery to me. Each of us also carries a message stick, inscribed with messages of help. We don't have a pole to put them on to be too heavy, so we have to show them manually when we get to our destination. Our goodbyes are as light as our belongings. Goodity hugs her friends and they cry a bunch. She may never see them again, so part of me sheds a few tears with her, though I don't dare to whine or hiccup. Winyu and Dura are not the only young men in our tribe, and they say their farewells to a few. Even the Quall gets a hug and a forehead rub from Winyu, just far more than I'd give to that cunt. Seriously, they become friends overnight or something? As for me, I've never made many friends beyond Winyu, Dura and Goodity. Indeko is my only other, and their loss is why I'm the mess that I am. Still I dare approach the elders. I let them initiate contact, to stare at me with grandfatherly amusement and pat me on the shoulders. Among them, Maranga and Yula are the ones that focus on me the most. I must admit that part of me sees them as my grandparents, kind and always there for me and my friends. I still resent them. They seem to notice that and look at me sadly. Maranga touches my shoulder with his wing, rubbing it softly. Kopadang, is this the last time we see you? How should I know? Every moment is one where she could just kill me, or one where one of her monsters could get me. Or maybe you could just deny me the right to drink until I die. To hear the youth laugh, think it's about the gum cider. None of the elders do, neither do Winyu or Goodity. Neither most of the young women, but judging by the looks of confusion, it's probably because they don't know about my gum cider incident rather than respect for the drought. Kobadan, we love you like our own son. What we did doesn't deserve forgiveness, and we don't ask you to love us back. All we want is for you to be safe. I'll fight for my survival, so you don't have to worry about that. A moment passes, and decide to swallow my spite for a rare instance. I'll return to you. I don't promise forgiveness, and I'm not interested in revenge. I will see you again. We will have closure. That's all we ask. Travel safely, little moon. With all said and done, we get into our canoes and paddle away from shore. We keep mostly offshore with the coast just barely in sight for reference. Not only will we cover the distance faster, we also need to keep distance from the shoreline lest a monster decides to dive or fly after us. The sea itself is not entirely safe, but we Yuin have allies here. Everyone, look! Sure enough, they reveal themselves, greeting us with their dorsal fins. Orcas and Yuin have fished together since time immemorial. Together we hunt the colossal whales of the southern seas, with the orcas requesting only the massive tongue and lips, while they give us the rest of the corpse for us to feast for days at a time. This law of the tongue is especially helpful during these times, as the orcas also hunt down the monsters that dare to stalk the depths. I've been to the sea in my navigation training during the Kuringal festivities. I can't help but shed a tear every time I witness the majesty of our friends. Do you want to touch one, huh? Well, don't. If you do, you might slip and your oak will be washed away. Well, let's get them to come closer. Winyu taps the prow of his canoe with his row, and sure enough one comes to investigate. I trace my fingers in its smooth skin, carefully balancing myself as to not drop out of the canoe. Careful, Kupadang. Calm the fuck down to her, I'm being careful. And just like that I tip over and fall into the sea. How we always forget you do the opposite of what you say. But seriously, we only have so much ochre. I climb back on board and Winyu paddles closer so we can inspect how much my body paint I lost. Well, still a bit left, but it's best I put some more on. You know, I could make it dry faster with my body heat. Yeah, genius, there's enough space here and someone else in your canoe to keep it steady. If your canoe goes down, we lose all the ochre. No need to get grumpy, just because my brother is smarter than you. Thanks, I think. Either way, it won't take long until you dry off in this heat. When you be ready as soon as he's dry, the Sun Woman won't waste any chance. Sure enough, it starts to get pretty hot, and the light glows brighter and brighter. Yeah. He then stares defiantly at the sky, only to squint because there's no ochre in his eyeballs. Still, he keeps staring. Stupid bitch, bet you want a piece of this. He rubs his paws over his body sensually. Winyu, please stop. She can see us and is probably sending monsters our way. Yes, saying that, I make you wet. Part of me wants to take offence, but I also have sex with Duras, so At least it's in the Quall guy. I'd knock his teeth out for sure if he made moves on my sister. Hey, do you think the orcas are here? Maybe we could try to hunt with them? I'm getting hungry. I don't think we have time for that. Yeah, sorry bro, I have to think of something else. Goodity stares at the shore. She spots something far ahead and points. There's a mangrove bay over there. We could try to fish or collect something, then get out as soon as monsters show up. I don't know, that seems very risky. But I'm hungry. Look, let's go over there and be done with it. You're going to have to eat something at some point. 3 against 1, Winyu. Seems like you lose. Winyu sighs. Well, at least I get to use my sword. We wave to the orcas and we paddle away. We quietly enter the bay. It is high tide, so most of it is submerged. If we want, we can just paddle away. The trees and their massive roots do give off a claustrophobic oppression that unnerves me. Foraging in the shallows isn't that hard. Clams can be found among the roots, as can some crayfish and crabs. Tura merrily dips his beak into the water to sense prey, and his flippers much to our horror. You don't know Munyates might be right underneath you, right? I can do this quickly. Look at all I've caught so far. With some pretty heavy clams and a crayfish the size of his arms, I don't doubt him. Using his heel spurs, he spears the crustacean and pries open the shells. Doing so is a bit of a balancing act. He almost tips over. He miraculously manages to not fall in the water. Well, bro, just you taught me. Well, your heels instead of my teeth. I'd been proud if I wasn't fearing for your life. So much for being the relaxed one. He handles the crayfish to Winyu. It's his favourite food, and Tura's venom normally isn't dangerous to consume unless you have wounds on your mouth. Has your tooth socket healed? Yeah, I've been eating crayfish. Tura catches me for almost a week now. Its venom gives him a certain pleasant flavour. You should try. I'll pass. Well, Dura passes me those clams, won't you? Just one, you deserve the rest. Sure. Here, it's the most ripe. He handles me a particularly large oyster, already pried open. I salivate. Goodity, pass me those lily leaves in your Kulamon. What's the magic word? I'll lock your canoe. Not quite. Seriously, don't push my luck. Fine, don't mix your drooling all over your body paint. Yeah, at this rate, our uncle will be gone soon. I don't respond. I just take the lily leaves and shove them onto the oyster. After a while, I then slurp it out of its shell. It ends as soon as it began. Those few seconds were the epitome of earthly pleasures. Do you want another one? I'm still a bit hungry, but... No, eat them yourself. There's not enough lily leaves to flavour all of them. Besides, you need it the most out of all of us. Okay. Winyu, Goodity, have some fishing? Oh, fuck yes. Oh, I can find you fish with my beak. No, you only put yourself at risk by dipping after clams. Well, you can find fish on our own. He won't be as fast. Besides, not like there are any... We all look above. Perched high in the canopy, a Yaramayahu stares at us. His disgusting, slippery red skin glistening in the light of the sun. Its luminous, blinding eyes show clearly who its master is. If we play dead... The creature jumps at him, knocking him out of the canoe into the water. Tura! Winyu jumps out of his canoe, almost knocking out a supply of ochre, which I decide to rescue into my own canoe. I take his message stick as well. Goodity follows after, bringing herbs and message stick into my canoe as well. I put everything in Dura's canoe and dive in to help. Dura's body paint is pretty much dissipated in the water, irritating the Yaramayahu, which tries to escape but is prevented by Winyu's sword. With a single strike, Winyu cleaves with the monster. Soon Goodity sheds a few strikes with her axe. Though burned by ochre in all directions, the Yaramayahu is surprisingly resilient, opening its bisected jaws to latch its tongue onto me. It burns on contact with my skin, but is still very damn strong and drags me closer to it. Luckily, my boomerang slices it off. Hissing in frustration, the monster's blistered flesh shifts and turns, blood spilling all over the water. Trying to get distance between itself and the ochre. Our body pain's almost all been washed away. We have to kill it fast. A mass of its malformed flesh attacks Dura, enveloping him. Now you done it, you shitty little bush tomato frog. But just as Winyu's about to strike, the creature groans in pain and releases Dura. My venom, quick, before it bleeds it away. Sure enough, the Yaramayahu is bleeding profusely again. I stab with my boomerang. I cut deep, slicing the monster apart even more. It seems to finally die. We are not taking any chances and run back to our canoes. I want my fishing hook. It got lost in the water. Well, like I said, everything else we got. Let's move. As we paddle away, I swear I hear wing beats. The others must have heard them too as we all rush out of the mangrove. None of us is sure for how long we travel. Judging by the tides, Goodity, Winyu and I reached a consensus of about 2 days, but according to Dura it might as well be a year. We rarely make landfall, except to resupply our water. Freshwater bodies might be full of bunyips, so we mostly just collect dew on the moist coast and offshore islands. The 2 times we had to do this, we decided to collect shellfish, staying as little as possible in order to avoid other monster attacks. Water and food are just enough to get us by, but sleep is becoming a problem. We'll probably take turns, like a single person sleeps while everyone else paddles. We use our bone hooks to link the canoes, like we're using them anyway. That way we don't get separated from each other as well, but it adds additional drag and weight. We're going against the current, so several hulls together might help resist it. So it is settled. Now we have 3 hooks. We could have saved mine. I'll link the 3 canoes to my own. We need easy access to ochre and herbs. It makes sense for my canoe to be in the middle one, so we can pass things around. And we put tourists on the back. What? You don't be the one paddling for all 4 of us. We're pampering you, little bro. Still sounds unfair. Well, get some sleep and then you'll feel much better. Tura grumbles something, but is quick to lie down and fall asleep. We carefully paddle as to align our canoes, and Goodity and Winyu use their hooks to connect to mine. Once the 3-hull canoe is set, I give my hook to Winyu and dive into the water, aligning Tura's canoe with mine. Winyu took my place, puts the final hook, and he pulls me out of the water in his embrace. Second time you get wet today. Got a pussy like Goodity's. What will leave me the point of putting ochre on you? I'm smart enough to duck as Goodity hits Winyu's head with the row. Winyu promptly returns to his canoe, careful not to throw me overboard. Why'd you have it out for me anyways? You're not even into me. He's not? Good. You only got here, besides the flame of death right above us. You're easy to pick on. Well, pick on someone else. I'm also going to sleep. Oh, come on, you expect us to paddle both you and Dura? Sleepwalks, bitches talk. See ya. I seriously doubt she fell asleep quickly, just testing us. The result is the same. Now me and Winyu have to paddle harder. You can sleep too, you know. Why would I do that? You need to relax. You're getting very cranky. I can handle this. Just let me paint you again. I want to protest. I don't find it in me as his fingers trace my chest, my arms, my face. He paints me like he paints the rocks. It's a wonderful feeling to be sculpted by him in this way. I let her yawn and he hugs me, nuzzling me. Shh, sleep well, okay? Everything will be fine. I carefully slide off him, laying in my canoe. Everything will be fine. In the era before the sun, the world is dark. Gods and spirits walk the land, sculpting the rivers and the mountains, spreading deserts and digging billabongs, becoming rocks and lightning, and even creating the inapertua, the strange things from which all life descends. But all, divine or mortal, are afflicted. Crops cannot grow, so the people starve. A mother kookaburra attends to her child, her feathers dishevelled and broken. Eventually the child begs for food, and a kookaburra flies into the darkness. She returns with meager sustenance, some rotten yams, a wallaby that's more skin and bones than flesh, but she's overcome with a new hunger. The child wandered off while she foraged. The mother hungers for a child's laughter, for a child's touch, for her child's presence. She cries, she flies, but the child doesn't answer and she cannot find them. In grief, she lights a torch and flies high into the sky, into the spirit world. And there is light. But no matter how much she tries, the child is never found. I wake up with my grief bubbling, returning to the surface. I can't help but cry. Had a bad dream, huh? Goodity wipes away my tears softly, as she often had to do, like one's guilty and thankful that she's always there for me. Someone hugs me from behind. Now I'm instinctually defensive, I quickly melt into Tura's embrace. Normally he'd say something tactless or stupid, but I guess he figured out some things don't need to be said. I don't treat him well enough. Meanwhile, Winyu is sleeping, snoring loudly. How long has he been out? Oh, just for a few minutes. Good as he didn't sleep after all, so they rode together until I woke up. Which is great, because I really want to sleep right now. Sleep well, sis. We'll take it from here. Good that he wastes no time getting to snoring, which is almost indistinct from her acting earlier. What I can tell from the coast, we did make a lot of progress. Forests and swamps have given way into scrublands and cliffs become more common. A few hours pass, and then Gujitmara coastline is within sight. Shall we wake them up? There's an island over there. We could make landfall. See? You're very smart. Pity you whine all the time. What's got into you? You're so mean to me now. He shout, whispering, probably not to wake up the others. Sorry, there's anything that's happening. I'm a bit on edge. That's no excuse. I should know better. Yes, you should. You know things have been difficult for me. The least you could do is not being an asshole. Sorry. Tura sighs. We don't talk until the canoes are touching the island's sandy beach. I'm going to scout for monsters. Stay here to watch over them and leave as fast as you can if it's not safe, alright? Tura sighs again. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not asking you to be suicidal. Just not to be awful to me. I won't. I promise. Alright, I expect you to hold on to that promise. No, I was just kidding. You know how it is with me. He was making it just so easy. I am a man of my word. I want to treat him better. I hug him tight. Love you. In what way? Tura looks at me in the eyes expectantly, as if dreading the answer and ready to burst into a smile at the same time. I feel a bit guilty. I hope I didn't lead him on, but honestly I do love him a lot. I'm just as confused as he is, but I'm certain in some things. I don't know. Maybe this isn't the best answer I could give. But I do love you. Tura pouts. I love my brother more. That's not true. He gets cold feet whenever we talk about what we have, so you have an edge on him for being more direct and adorable. Tura looks flustered and his beak seems to blush a little. You think I'm cute? Do I need to repeat myself? Not because I'm small or anything, right? I'm told you guys, it wouldn't be a runt in comparison. Well, considering you just poisoned a monster, I can't in good conscience call you a runt. Well, I guess. Suddenly we're interrupted by wing beats. A sea eagle soars above us. He has scarification patterns and wears a loincloth made of leather and grass fibres. So long as his massive bulk, it's clear he's a person. Judging by the scar patterns themselves and the little ochre body paint he wears on his wings and face, I think he's one of the Gamilare. I mean no harm. May I land? I need to speak to you. I can barely hear him from the distance in his calm voice, but I figure out what he's saying and I nod. Are you insane? Only two of us are waiting. Looks like he could beat up even Winyu. He's hot. He gets a pass. Seriously? Soon the stranger glides down to us, seemingly trying to not wake Goodity and Winyu. He has such fine control of his wings that he's able to land gracefully just uphill without flapping. Tussock grass whistles a little as he makes a sort of hop as he lands, but otherwise he's eerily silent. My apologies if I was interrupting something, but you are the UN delegation, correct? Yes? I travel with the medicine woman, Bina. She's urged me to fly off course on this island in order to escort you to Butch Bim. How can we trust you? Winyu and Goodity seem to have woken up a while ago, but they're still stretching themselves and yawning. You can't, but I have little interest in harming you, especially when there are 1,000 other things that want us both dead. There's safety in numbers. Either we join this Bina or we can beat him up. I'll wait to her on this one. Not only does he look stronger than all of us, the Gamilare are warrior people, so even with our weapons he'd probably kick our asses. Speaking of weapons, he has none. You're unarmed. Yes, I would hope that would be proof that I mean no harm. It really isn't of an ambush. I understand your suspicions. I'll leave you to decide on whereas to trust me. He takes off once more, taking advantage of the island's slight inclination and breeze. He flies to the mainland beach, where he is indeed accompanied by 2 figures. Hard to make out from here. So, should we trust him? We might have the advantage of numbers we previously thought, but I think he was telling the truth. I see an old medicine woman there, probably also a Gamilare. Well, you should have better eyesight than us. It doesn't mean anything. They could be planning to kill us. Think about it. What they expose when there's monsters everywhere? Or they're hiding something. I assumed it was just a medicine woman. Must be very powerful. Well, we're going to have to get over there anyways. We'll go meet them. We just won't be fools about it. We get back on our canoes and paddle across the strait. Since we're not resting, we decide to remove the hooks as they might be useful as additional weapons. Indeed, there's a medicine woman, an old goanna in Gamilare garbs. She has no body paint, instead carried a bunch of opals, likely the source of her magic. I've heard the medicine men and women use opals to summon the rainbow serpent. Didn't know the Gamilare were among the people who worshipped it. I suppose it's widely worshipped across the land. The other person with them is an Arenti warrior. Arenti. The other person with them is a Arenti warrior, somewhere this far from the deserts up north. He is a kangaroo, young but quite buff, even more so than the eagle. He's incredibly hot, but his smug and disdainful look puts me off. Curiously, though, he too has no weapons. Bangalore, by contrast, now bears a Helaman shield caked in yellow ochre. More for defence than attack, but still makes more sense than being completely defenceless. We make landfall, weapons on our waist. So, we are united at last. You were expecting us? Yeah, let's go off course all the way to the south for you, weak shit. Could be in Butch Bim by now, Apollo. We have to watch over children instead. Perul. This is the so-called UN delegation. Yeah, people are just too weak to keep on living. Who the fuck do you think you are? People are dying and you joke about it. No, I don't need to joke on this occasion. Being good at the bear our weapons, isn't in the least bit intimidated. He scoffs, obviously if 2 people aim to kill him with just flies to be swat. I think you got to do with those toys. I mentioned you're too weak to survive. I don't know how to use those things properly. The more I say that smug face, the more strength is sapped from my limbs. He smirks cruelly, so much sure of how weak and pathetic I am. Please, Kupadang. Tears run down my face, but I find my strength. My boomerang's pointing at that smug asshole's neck. He actually seems impressed. Everyone else gasps. Not bad. Not many people can withstand the Kudayeches will. So you call each other's weak, but you hide behind magic? He scoffs, albeit more in amusement than offence. Now, my art's outside of my strength. Ever since my tribe was gutted like fish, I've had it in me to seek revenge. Strength of body and strength of mind complement each other. One can't truly exist without the other. Bullshit. That's true, and you're starting to find that out. But you're obviously still too weak to be at my level. And with that, he swats my boomerang away. This seems to be the final straw of the eagle, who sheds his usual stoic calm for pure anger. Harold, you realize we need allies, right? Why do you always act like this? I just don't see how a bunch of skinny, whiny joeys from defunct people are going to be useful to me if I don't toughen them up. Someone who thrives on comparing others to children. You're the only child here. I hate it when you get like this. Talk to me when you calm down. The kangaroo walks away smugly, while the eagle looks like he's about to eat his own eyeballs. What an asshole. Oh, I'm sorry for my friend Perul. He's, well, very difficult. I can't really promise to get any better, but he is on your side. Did you even listen to what he said? How is he on our side? Doesn't he think we deserve to live? The eagle sighs. This can't be easy for him, and so far he's been pretty reasonable, so I feel sorry for him. Well, as he said, his tribe was slaughtered by Papna Jawari. He wants to see if the Gunjit Mara will lend warriors to Mpatwi. I do suppose he might see you as competition. If you get your way, he'll likely get his as well. Assuming he can think that coherently. Did you lose your people as well? Good, Winyu. While me good to see Endura still stew in hatred for Perul, you only want to help others. You don't deserve us. Yes, my tribe's been purged as well. I won't send help to the Galimarari nation. They're inviting the kills of many monsters as people. So why are you here then? To escort Beaneth the elders, and also to argue for both you and Perul. Well, that's good to hear, but we trust them. But for that we need to know your name. My name is Bangalar. We already know your names. I recall the wings we heard in the mangrove. Were you spying upon us? No, we did almost meet you at the mangrove, but you were in a hurry, and meeting you when you were still frightened might have made things worse, so I decided not to do so. Incidentally, it's also why Perul is cranky as he is. He thinks we've been dragging this whole thing out. Still doesn't excuse what he did, nor does it detract away from the fact he tends to be unpleasant to others anyway. I don't fully trust these people, but I do suppose that if they wanted us dead, they'd have killed us by now. I don't need to repeat myself about Mangalar's strength. A medicine woman can be far more dangerous than any monster. If she's comfortable going around with her ochre, that doesn't bode well for whoever pisses her off. After resting for a bit, we travelled through a trail leading inland through the bush. This trail, Bina says, was once used by the Gunjit Mara as they travelled along their settlement to the coast. It goes all the way to Bujbim. They began exploring until Bina sent Bangalar to meet us at the island. Perul is far ahead, impatient to get to Bujbim, while Bangalar flies overhead looking for any dangers. The road was clearly used often, as not only is it well defined, there are marking stones and, on a few places, even footprints. But yet everything is silent. Dread builds inside of me. I think the same happens with the rest of my friends, since they rarely talk. Eventually the ever-proud Perul stops in his tracks, and we soon see why. Rubble marks the remnants of a Gunjit Mara settlement. Houses trampled underfoot, recently spewing blood on wood, rock and sand. Tools crushed, but no sign of who made them. Though the flayed pelt of a young wombat remains. Terramulam. Monsters are not stupid, at least not under the sun. Your ochre protects you, but there are ways around that. My nerves are on fire. I stare at the child's pelt incessantly. Eventually I kneel down and throw up. Easy, mate, easy. Pathetic. What's your fucking problem? I see this again and again. Someone on the land looks outside your beaches. You purposely sent warriors to carry on through the devastation, but of course they didn't. They can't, and that's why they'll die. Good that he actually manages to punch Perul, but he just scoffs. She raises her axe, but again she loses strength when she's about to strike him. Save your strength when someone gives a shit. I stare at him in disbelief. The more I look, the more I see hints of guilt beyond his bravado. He rightfully shuts the fuck up for a while before moving on. After we collect ourselves, we follow suit. Scenes like this repeat themselves several times, more so than I dare to count. In some ruins, whatever flesh remains is decayed and the blood is dry. In one, however, I still see bright, fresh flesh, in the form of a chunk of a kangaroo's face. The blood is only mildly darkened, and an eyeball collects sand. In the absence of time and materials, we can only cover these few remains in ochre and bury them instead of the more elaborate rites they rightfully deserve. Hopefully it is enough. Few souls reach the spirit world these days as the Sun Woman bleaches the sky. Some become one with the earth. Most are devoured by the Sun Woman. She must have read my mind. I stare at her and she instantly stares back. Call it a woman's intuition. Right. It's then that I realise something strange about Bina. She doesn't blink. She smiles at my realisation, then gives the slowest, most unnerving blink I've ever seen. She's mocking me. Lighten up, live a little. And then she walks away as if nothing happened. 2 days we'd travelled through these nightmare lands and we set camp only once. I sleep close to Winyu, Tura and Kuditi, while Parole and Bangalore sleep together not too far away. Bina doesn't sleep at all, just messes with the embers. I dream of Indeko in the drought and I wake up in tears. Everyone else is still sleeping, aside from Bina. They died before she began devouring the people, so you will meet each other eventually. The last thing I want to think about is death, let alone my own. Didn't you tell me to live a little? All things are eternal, little moon. Nothing ever ends. How'd you know that nickname? Please don't be vague. Then I guess I won't. Your name means moon, so I'm calling you Little Moon, because you're a dear little one to me. Bullshit, that's what Maranga and Yulu call me. Then they have good taste. I groan. Talking to this woman is like talking to a rainbow? If you're the rainbow serpent in disguise, I'm going to scream. You have to be more specific, dear. There are countless deities called the Rainbow Serpent, from Yolunga to Unambi. Then you whatever the Gamilare have. The Gamilare have a Garia, but it's one of the monsters of the Sun Woman. I chose disguise specifically because the Gamilare do not worship a Rainbow Serpent deity. I throw my arms. Does Bangalore know at least? You seem to have been travelling together for a while. He doesn't seem stupid. He does suspect. He actively tries to pretend I'm simply a medicine woman, if a crazy one at that. He needs some certainty in his life, and someone receiving guidance works better for him than a god with whims he cannot predict. I can relate. You're driving me insane. Yes, but I'm also making you smile. Sure enough, and against my better judgment, this conversation puts me in a better mood. About an hour after, the rest wake up and we resume our path. We finally reach Butch Bim. Butch Bim was built atop the remnants of an old volcano. Its lava flows draining the land to form immense wetlands. The Gunjitamari learned how to manipulate these swamps, building dams, channels and weirs to create artificial lakes and rivers layered unto each other. These lakes fill with eels, which are then caught in strange funnel-like nets. Large eels are trapped while smaller eels escape and repopulate. They rotate around these lakes, never running out of fish. The eels are then wrapped up in leaves and smoked on hollowed-out trees. This way they're preserved and stacked up. Farming eels like other nations farm crops, the Gunjitamara have an endless supply of meat, and such can stay year-round. Their houses are large and have stone foundations, sturdier than any gunya. Having enough food to trade, the Gunjitamara soon expanded, with now hundreds if not thousands of houses occurring throughout their plain, increasing in number and complexity generation after generation, till Butch Bim became one of the largest settlements in the entire continent. As more refugees come in from all over, Butch Bim only grows. And yet the Gunjitamara don't seem to suffer for it. They brag that they can feed the entire world, and judging by the content and well-fed people, I believe them. Granted, they soon will be able to feed the entire world very easily, as more and more people are devoured by the Sun Woman. Oh, it's amazing. It's too loud and there are too many people. Well, we can find a hole for you to dig yourself into. Bangalore has flown ahead to warn the Gunjitamara of our coming, and sure enough, as we step out of the track, we are met with a large delegation welcoming us. Greetings and salutations. You have travelled far and wide and must be exhausted and in need for a good gum cider and wonderful stew to fill your bellies. Well, I wouldn't say no to that. Ivan, you're weaker than twigs or weak-willed as well? Do you even have a message sticks? I stared at him angry, then take out mine and hand it to the Wombat Elder. The rest, Winu, Gudjati and Perul, follow suit. Tura seems to have lost his either in the mangrove or at sea. Avangalar seems to have given his earlier, and Bina seems to have none. Well, these seem like a lot of request warriors. I'm afraid we're stretched thin as it is. This is going to happen. That fucking ancient cunt and that Portuguese valet of Bangalore trying to make you optimistic. In the end, you'll only save your own asses. Look, we'd sent help to Mpatwe and Mankulaga. We sent too many warriors to fight for other nations. We have barely enough guards here to alert for any attacks. We can't leave ourselves defenseless. Please, we travelled so far. You can't have us leave empty-handed. I'm sorry, but it is final. You're welcome to stay for as long as you like. We will take you as one of our own, and you will enjoy the pleasures we have to offer. That's the end. People won't be able to last much longer. Gudjati seems especially troubled, but remains calm. Sis, why did you volunteer? Was it in case something like this happened? Yes, I hoped with all my heart that you and Nation would survive, but I knew that you couldn't stay there. So I decided to lure you into this mission and thank Daramulam that I did. So you won't even fight for your nation, you just follow wherever your sister goes? I'm not sure what's the most pathetic thing in all this, the cowardice or the... Shut up, Perul. Mangalar is way too kind about you. You're nothing but a spiteful living poison. Take some time till the buffets of the Ewing grew some balls. We still have skinny little rat whose balls are dragged around by a thylacine he knows the hots for me. He winks at me, but that only makes me angrier. Shut the fuck up, Perul. I'll rip out your tongue. And you can pull it off? Your only lives are not even flexing on my muscles, physical or spiritual. I give you one chance to apologise and suck my balls in for these spineless, worthless parodies of humanity. Furious, I charge. His willpower once again drains me, receives me to regain my strength. Part of me wants to say this because I care about my friends and my people, while he cares only about himself. That's not true. I only care for my own survival and dignity, while he cares about the people he failed, and the people he wants to save at Mpatwe. He is repulsive, but also noble. I'm not cruel, but little more than a leech. I strike at an angle, but he evades my wooden blade. This gives him the time to punch me in the chest, and I fall to the ground. Kuwadang! Winu and Gudjati lunge at Perul, but they are drained and easily tossed aside. So the Gunjadmara warriors circle me, Mangalar between them and Perul. That's enough, Perul. You lost your case, so stop acting like a child. I'll convince them not to execute you for what the fuck you're doing, but you have to stop. You say like I'm going to kill him. Well, you did say you're going to rape him in public, so forgive me for not being willing to let you get near him. Let him pass. What? Yeah, mate, not going to happen. I ignore them, get back on my feet, I lay down my boomerang and walk towards Perul. He's clearly impressed by my bravery, but also intimidated. I walk right next to his face before taking a step back and opening my arms. Look what you've accomplished. Obviously everyone here is on my side thanks to you. Not even Bangalore sided with you. Perul scoffs. Oh, leave it alone. What's your pumps and highlighting your weakness? You want people from Mpatwe. You know you need support from others. You can't just do things on your own. You lost all chances of doing so. The Ewan are dead, so the Arrente. Perul says nothing, and judging by his same shameful sidestep, it's clear that I've won this confrontation. Well, that's fucking awesome, mate. Oh, I've never seen someone take Perul down a peg like that. For some reason, this doesn't feel right. Can't even enjoy a proper victory. Shut up. Tura's brief moment of Rado is short-lived at Perul's scoffs, but does nothing further. One ending, the kangaroo seems unreadable, its usual cocky expression replaced by a blank state. As incredibly entertaining as it all was, it's also unnecessary. I have good reason to argue for warriors being sent to both Ewan and Arrente lands. And what will those be? We elders must speak in private of this matter. Dismiss the youths. Again with the fucking secrets. Our nation's about to die. I think we're entitled to know what you're planning. Once I agree, why do you keep us in the dark? You just had a confrontation over nothing with murder and rape as stakes. Rest assured that both Mount Gulagra and Mpatwe will survive and thrive. But I will not have your egos burn the whole plan to the ground. Oh, she told the elders to dismiss us. They all just dismissed themselves. Just with my people, the Council of Gunjitamara may lead by example, give the final say on any matter. They don't enforce themselves above the youth. As such, we could follow them. We'd feel bad about it. With no parole didn't feel satisfying. You can only imagine disobeying old folks wouldn't feel any better, even if one of them is a god. And that is going to be where we finish things off for this episode. I know it's a hard place to try and find where we're going to end, but this will be episode 1. And Tura asked a good question. Now what? We go back to the main menu, Tura. And I hope you enjoyed that. And for anyone who happens to know exactly how to pronounce all those names, as usual, sorry if I messed all those up. I'm doing my best and guessing at them. But if you actually can give me some information, I'm quite open to hearing it. It all helps. So this was Lands of Fire. All being well, we'll be going back to another one we're familiar with, Tennis Ace, during the week. And next weekend should well see one more new VN coming up. And then I'll take a break from new VNs for a bit because there's plenty going to be going on as we go through March. Including Return to Echo, the finale of Backbone, and some other interesting stuff happening. So thanks for watching. And as always, thanks to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. And my top patrons are Grizz, Seven King, David Taylor, Smuto, Brian Hall, Anubis Silverwind, Ida Corval, Brandon Bradford, Astian, Mark Huskerton, Gunnambula, Tiger Cub, Sindri Dragowolf, Dissonance, Vesuksu, Cobus Visser, Kartek, Burnt Toast, Jewel, and Popot. And until next time, well, we return to Tennis Ace. Bye for now.